Hi, and welcome to the Knuckleball Prime Time, live from the Barn Studio in Farmington, Missouri. You got the Mocs here, and I'm joined with a special guest today. We have Coach Greg Heiar from Mineral Area Mac Cardinals men's basketball program. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing well, man. Appreciate you coming to us today and coming to the studio.
Yeah, love it here. This is an awesome place. I'm blessed to be in the barn.
And we didn't know we're almost practically neighbors, I think. We live pretty close together. We didn't even know that when we were arranging the interview.
Exactly. I pull up and I'm like, wow, the barn's not far from the crib.
Yeah, come by sometime, and we got several TVs in here. We'll put a couple games up and check it out when you get free time, which is probably not very often, right?
Well, no, but I would love to come watch a game with you in here. This is a really cool spot.
Appreciate that. And again, welcome to the barn. Welcome to the community. Obviously, you've been here for several months at this point, but we were kind of talking off air that you really feel that the community has embraced you and you enjoy being here.
I love it. We love it here. Since the day we arrived, we've felt nothing but love and support. And it's just the type of people and the way of life here. Obviously, I'm from the Midwest and from Iowa, and just kind of feel that Midwestern love and just some great people that are blue collar, gritty, hardworking, really friendly, and enjoy and want to have a good time, but talk sports and just family people, and it's just been unbelievable since we've gotten here, and it's only going to keep getting better.
And I would say there's a lot of excitement right now with MAC basketball, men's and women's, both nationally ranked. What's your ranking right now?
We're 13th in the country right now.
That's pretty impressive. You haven't been here long. I think when you took over the program, you inherited no players, no coaches. Did you have to start from really kind of the ground up?
Yeah, we got here in the middle of July and just kind of started from the ground up. And I'm very blessed to have the group of young men that I get to coach every single day. It's sometimes you got to have a little luck, and and then the staff as well. I got a great staff. I love to be around them every day, and you're only as good as the people you have around you, and they work so hard, and they're just behind the scenes, and they do a lot of stuff. They do the scouting reports, and I trust them with their knowledge of the game. And when things need to be corrected, we talk about it. And so I really enjoy my staff, and I love my team. I love my players. They've worked so hard since the day they've got here, and they just keep getting better and better and better and better and better. And our team keeps getting closer, it's just a lot of fun to go to work every single day at MAC, and then I get the opportunity, at 1:15 to coach my team and hit the weight room with them, and just all the things that we do. But they bring joy to my life, and they're a joy to be around every single day.
And you guys are off to a 12-0 start.
Yeah, 11-0 start.
You've beat 3 nationally ranked teams. We were lucky enough to catch one of those games, I think. There's a lot of large margin victories. I mean, you're having a lot of success, even over some teams that are really, really, really good. And what do you attribute that success, the early success that you guys have had so far? What do you really attribute it to?
Hard work. Dedication. We've been going at it since the day they arrived. We've been getting up at 6 a.m. and working on our fundamentals, both offensively and defensively. The game of basketball, or to me, any sport is about point of attack. So you got to be able to beat your man, whether it's with the dribble or with the cut on the offensive end, and with good footwork and good technique with either it's a shot fake or a pivot or a dribble move, and changing speeds, changing pace, and then you got to be able to get to the paint and make a decision. Either you're gonna make a good decision and get your teammate a shot, or you're gonna get a shot for yourself. And then it's one thing to get that shot, but it's another thing to have the fundamentals to finish those plays. And then on the defensive end, you counter it. You want to keep the ball out of the paint, and you got to have a great closeout. You got to have great hand activity. You got to have great anticipation. You got to take great angles. You got to jump to the ball. There's a lot of fundamentals that go into both sides of the ball at just one-on-one point of attack. And then you add the second player, then you add the third player, and you add the fourth player, and add the fifth player. And at the end of the day, it comes to the buy-in. Do they believe? And every single day, they've come to work and they believe, and they're trying. I got a simple model, listen, try, apply, and compete. And, we're still getting better at all four of those areas, but those are all what I call controllables. Each and every one of those guys controls how well they listen, how well they try, how well they can apply what they're supposed to do, and then how competitive you are at doing what you're supposed to do. From day one till now, we're in week 14 together. It's been amazing, the process, and I give the players a ton of credit and my staff a ton of credit because they've trusted the process from day one, and they keep coming back for more, and they ask great questions, and because of that, they're getting better. I mean, I think I got 10, 11 Division I players on my team, and so when you got to have good players to win games at the level that we're winning with. It's no different than running a business. You got to have really good employees to have a successful business, and I feel like I got some really good players that have bought in and have put in the work, and now we're starting to see the results of all their hard work, and it's and every week it keeps getting a little bit harder. I don't believe in making things easier. I believe in making things harder, and as soon as they master one thing or they get good at one thing, then I'll add another thing, and it'll be like, oh, we got to do this, coach. And yeah, this is what we do. We don't,
right.
We don't do anything easy around here. Yeah. Everything we're going to do is hard, and it's hard work, and it's gritty, and it's just like the people in this community and what they're all about. And so the way we work, and it's been a great fit, for our basketball program and this community, because that's what this place is all about.
Absolutely. Here, we got this here. Oh, never mind. No, we don't. There it is.
I love that.
I'm with you. We are sports editors for Fansided and BustingBrackets.com. We'll attach our article that we put out recently about you guys, just a little early season kind of article, but catching a couple games and practices. One of the things that we mentioned in the article was the high intensity, was the high paced, was the, I mentioned the wholesale changes where you will bring 5 fresh bodies onto the court. And I think when you're talking about having 10 D1 type players, what I'm hearing is you have a lot of depth in your team, on your team.
Definitely. I learned from a wise man at a young age, as soon as you get a team, the first thing you want to do is develop your depth. And you want to believe in your depth, and you want to trust your depth, because at some point in time in the season, when it gets to nut cracking time, something's going to happen, and you're going to have depth. And so from day one, I coach everybody in the program the same way. There's accountability across the board for everyone, and building depth has been a big. It's just something that I believe in. And at the 17-minute mark, you'll see here comes 5 fresh new bodies of both halves, and then it gets down to the last 10 minutes, and that's winning time. And then I'm going to play the guys that have been playing the best all game in winning time, and this only gets the 10 gets to about 8 in winning time, and sometimes it's still 10 in winning time, but and that allows us to be fresh and wear teams out and play. The term you guys used with high octane, and you couldn't have put a bigger smile on my face when I read high octane, because that's really the word that I think about all the time. I want to be a high octane team. I want to be aggressive on the defensive end, force turnovers, contest every dribble, contest every pass, contest every shot. gang rebound, have 50 fingers going for every single rebound, and then sprinting the court in 4 or less seconds and spraying the ball up the court and attacking. And if we don't have it, pop the ball around and get it to the other side and try to strike at some point. And if we can't get it reversed again and try to strike, and then, try to attack the 10-foot mark and spray it out for either you finish it or you spray it out for a 3 and then get multiple guys on the weak side glass and then sprint back in 4 seconds, butt to the baseline, somebody calling the ball, protecting the hole, and getting matched up and doing it over and over and over and over and over again. And it sounds easy, but it's very difficult. We're not even close to that level yet, but we're practicing to get to that level at some point in time. And so to play like that, you gotta have a lot of bodies, and you got to play extremely hard, and it's extremely intense because every single time the ball moves, you have a job to do. And I'm going to hold you accountable to do your job. And if you don't do your job, I'm going to put somebody else in that's going to do their job. And, over time, they start to understand the importance of doing their job, and the pace gets a little bit faster, the intensity level. It's, to me, I challenge them to be a player-led program. I want my team to have the same intensity and competitiveness that I have as a coach. And we're not there yet, but we're getting there. And, it is a process, and you got to trust the process. And like I tell, we're going to give you the answers to the test, and can you pass the test with the answers is the question. But I love that term. When I read that, I had this big smile on my face because I'm like, man, this is what I think about ever since I got into coaching, like high octane.
Yeah.
Easy to say, hard to do.
Yeah.
You watch basketball all over the world, and you very rarely see high octane basketball.
Yeah.
I'm not going to name any schools, but there's several coaches and programs that I study that I believe have that type of high octane. So, man, that was just that was like I said, that put a smile on my face, and we're still in the process of getting to that point, and we're not going to let up till we get there.
Even as just a spectator watching the game, when I saw the 5 come on, you could see it deflate the other team, your opponent that probably didn't have as much depth as you. Their sort of shoulders kind of dropped a little bit, like we hit fresh, 5 fresh guys, and they seem pretty tired and worn down. And I think as equally as impressive as your offense is, maybe your defensive is just as impressive to me because it's hands everywhere, tip balls, turnovers, and would you agree that maybe turnovers has been part of some of your success this year?
Oh, definitely. In the Massey rankings, which matter in seedings at the national tournament and at large bids, we're number 1 in the country right now in defense. So, yeah, you're right. I mean, our defense is really good. We have great hand activity. We challenge every dribble. We challenge every pass. We challenge every shot inside the scoring area. We want to contest shots without fouling. We want to have, great communication. We want to communicate it, dictate it, and stop it. That's our model. Communicate what we're doing, dictate the opponent of what we want them to do, and that will allow us to stop them. And, that's the name of the game. You get stops, now we can get rebounds, and now we get out and run in transition, or we create live ball turnovers and we're out in transition and we're playing in space, and that allows us to, score the basketball at easier. And, the biggest thing about offense is understanding how to score the ball when the other team gets back and has 5 guys butt to the baseline before you can get to the paint, and understanding how to break that possession down to win that possession, to get a clean shot on the goal. And then, when you get a clean shot, and not an unpredictable shot, but a clean shot, you get multiple guys on the glass. So you got an opportunity to get the ball back on the shot. And you also, when you get a clean shot, you normally are getting a paint touch, and that means you're putting pressure on the defense. You're breaking it down. You're striking the paint, which allows you to draw fouls, which allows you to get to the free throw line, which also allows you to get layups, and layups help your field goal percentage. And then the defense collapses when you get to the paint, and then you get kick out threes. And, we really shoot at a high level when we're getting those kick out threes. But again, that's just like saying about high octane. It's easy to say, hard to do. It's not easy to break the defense down on the offensive end and get a clean shot. You can watch basketball all over the world, and it's hard to get an uncontested shot against the best teams on your schedule. That's kind of what I challenge them with every day is we are working towards beating the best teams on our schedule every single day. And, I think going back to your 5 in, 5 out too, think about it as the other team. If the other team brings 5 new guys, and it's 5 new matchups for my matchup coach to get the right guys on the right guys. Well, that has to do with scouting reports. So the guys on the court got to understand, okay, maybe I go from a driver to a shooter. Maybe I go from a guy that gets back to a guy that goes to the offensive glass. Maybe I go from a drive right guy to a drive left guy. So it is deflating a little bit when you're bringing 5 more guys in that can really play. I mean, the guys I'm bringing in the game can really play, and but there's a lot of, I guess the game within the game, the details that the average fan wouldn't think about that goes into. There's a method to the madness, and so I just wanted to touch on that point as well.
Yeah, I think as a regular basketball fan, you're watching the ball a lot of the time, right? And it's like, does he have a high percentage shot? Is he open? Does he have good form and all those things? But, obviously setting up everything else around that shot makes it even maybe more of a high percentage shot. Or if he doesn't make it, we're in a position to rebound. We're in a position to be in a better spot, right? So just like outworking the other team to find yourself in a more advantageous position. Exactly.
And when you know where the shot's coming from, and you can get on the weak cycle, but then you can also get your transition defense set. Unpredictable shots, bad shots, wild shots create long rebounds, and that gets the other team an advantage in transition. And most, if not every team is better in space than they are in traffic. I don't know if I've ever been around a team that's better in traffic than they are in space. All you got to do is put a YouTube video on of any player on any team, and it's pretty much all of them in space. There's not many clips of them making real difficult plays in tight spaces.
Yeah.
That kind of sums the game up a little bit.
Yeah. Was lucky enough you invited me to practice the other day and caught a little bit of that. And noticed that you were doing a lot of drills of, contact drills, but also working through contact and through space where the player was, positioning himself to make a drive to the basket. But one thing I did hear you talk about in a different interview was the 5-pound weights, right? On defense, we have the 5-pound weights up, our hands and shoulders and arms are up. But what are you looking for on that drill?
Well, one of my former assistant coaches and is one of my best friends. He does NIL golf outings for Division I schools. So last year he went and did St. Mary's golf outing for them, and he went to their practice, and he sends me this video of them doing defense with bricks in their hands. And I was like, wow. And this was probably in December, maybe beginning of January when he sent it to me. So we started it a little bit, and it really was starting to work. And so when I got here, I was like, okay, once we get the positioning down, the communication, the dictating, on ball screens and dribble handoffs, depending on what I talked about earlier, it's going to get harder. So we added 5-pound weights. Well, when we do our whole shell drill and our whole scout team and our press defenses with 5-pound weights. Well, this week we went to 10-pound weights. And so now it's even a little bit harder. Well, I expect them to move the same way they do with no weights, with 5 or 10 pound weights in their hands. And they look at me like, Coach, and I don't, there's no excuses. Okay. It's only going to make you better. And it helps with our hand activity and what you talked about when you watched our defense, how our hands are, how active our hands are in trying to force turnovers. It helps with our positioning. Okay. One brick points at your man. The other brick points at the ball when you're off the ball. So it puts you in perfect position. And I want to be closer to the ball than your man at all time. And we want to stunt with your inside hand, okay, and your inside foot every time the ball is dribbled or it's passed as you're moving in correlation to what your man is doing, if that makes any type of sense at all. Okay. So, they're moving, the ball moves, you got to move, you got to get the help. You got to, if the box is the tick to the second hash, and it's a little 10-foot box, basically. And that's in the trenches. That's like the line of scrimmage in football, okay? Which is defensively, you want to arrive big. So they got to, when the ball gets in there, and we don't want to leave the floor, we want to chest blast, and we only want to leave the floor if we're going to vertically shield if we're outside of the charge circle. And the rules have changed a little bit now, so we have to vertical shield sometimes in different positions maybe than in the past, because when the rules change, you got to change your concepts on the defensive end of the court. So, we do that, and it's probably 30 minutes, maybe sometimes 40 minutes where they're playing defense, and we go full court shell, and we'll go probably through 8 things: our ball screen coverages, our handoff coverages. Then we'll do our 22 press and our 13 press, and sometimes we'll do our diamond press just to go over it with those weights, and then we take the weights away. And we look fast.
Yeah. We
look athletic. Yeah. We look fast. And the number one thing about the weights is you're not going to hit your teammate with weights, so you got to show your hands. You got to keep your hands up. You're not. What do kids do when they guard the ball? Young men, they put their hands on them. That's a foul. If you got the weights up, if you put the weights on your teammate, all right, you're going to hit them with a weight. Like, you don't want to do that. You want to keep the weights up, and you want to use your chest, and you want to take good angles, and your feet are slower than they've ever been when you got you're carrying 20 pounds and you're trying to slide your feet. So then when you get rid of the weights, it's like you feel a lot better. And that's kind of the method to the madness with the weights. But, I got to give credit to Jake Hedrick for sending me that video. And, it's really helped our team a lot.
So I used to be a much fitter man than I am now. We both talked off air. We're in our 40s, and it's hard to stay in shape these days. But I used to run, not long distance or anything, just as a little bit of cardio, and I would run with 5-pound weights. And that doesn't, if you're listening to this and you haven't done that before, that doesn't sound like a whole lot, right? But it is. And it got to the point where it felt okay. So I upped it to 10-pound weights and just did maybe a mile or two. I was as sore as I've ever been holding those 10-pound weights for my biceps sitting there, as I'm pumping along, working them over. It was as sore as I've ever been. I couldn't even brush my teeth. So you hear 5-pound weights, you hear 10-pound weights. It's heavy, and especially on your shoulders being out, arms being up. So I'm sure it's working on their, when they get tired, you see a lot of guys, their arms drop because they're tired.
Exactly.
So working on some of that maybe potential fatigue that sets in as well is the way I took it.
Exactly. Fatigue is obviously, we don't want to show weakness. We don't want to put our hands on our knees when we're conditioning or during the weights. And it's very difficult for them not to put their hands on their knees after they, get off the court. But in winning time, the last 10 minutes, the team that's in better shape and better condition, that can handle distractions, handle adversity better, has got the best chance to win in a close game. And you got to think of it, you coach to think that it's going to come down to the last possession, so everything we do is for the best team that we're going to play on our schedule. And that game, you want to simulate that it's going to come down to the last possession. And, practice is supposed to be harder than the games. The games are rewarding. The games, like I tell them all the time, the games are your time. Practices are the coach's time. But, so That's kind of like you said, the conditioning is a huge factor, and you don't have to do as much conditioning. I mean, we run hills in the preseason. I believe in running hills. I think hills are great for conditioning. But what we do every single day is enough conditioning to get us in elite shape.
Yeah, and like your style of play, I think is you're talking about doing hills, maybe interval work where you're working really hard for short bursts of time and then dialing it back and then working really hard as well. And you can see that. Again, I mentioned the defense, and do you care if we talk about a few of your players?
No, that'd be great.
Let's talk about Josh Mio.
Okay.
Was really impressed with him. Drove the ball hard. As much as we're talking about this fast play and the turnovers and the steals and everything, I'm equally as impressed with your physicality, and was impressed with Josh's driving the lane and bringing on contact, delivering contact at times. Tell us a little bit about Josh.
Josh is from Orlando. Really blessed to have him. He's a heck of a player. He reminds me of a player I coached at LSU named Skylar Mays, who's with the Portland Trail Blazers right now, just because of like what you just talked about, how he gets downhill, how physical he is when he gets in the lane, his ability to make others better. He has a 3.5 to 1 assist to turnover ratio on the year. And, he averaged 16 a game last year at St. Pete and probably on about 16 shots. His efficiency has improved. He's like 1.3 points per shot attempt. He's 3.5 to 1 assist to turnover ratio, and he gets a rebound every 5 minutes he's on the court. So he's a super efficient player. He's a leader. He's a worker every day, a warrior. I'm just, like I said, very blessed and lucky to have the opportunity to coach him, and he's bought in, and he's come a long way in these 14 weeks, and he's only going to keep getting better and better and better and better and better. And, he's one of them guys in winning time that he really turns it up, and he understands that it's, defense first. But he can shoot the three. He's got the mid-range pull-up. He can get to the basket. He can finish at the basket. He can go right. He can go left. He makes great decisions with the ball. He can guard 4 positions on the other team, and he can switch onto a 5 late clock in front of him, and then he has the physicality to check him out and keep him off the glass. So, I mean, that's kind of like a dream come true type player. It's he's just got a lot of versatility in his game and can play a lot of positions.
The thing that impressed me about him, he seemed fearless.
Oh, yeah, he's fearless.
No matter the body type that he's going up against, and like you're saying, he played multiple positions, seemed like, but just would drive the lane on whoever, would put his body, in whatever place it needed to be to try to get the shot. So he seemed like a fearless type of player to me.
Oh, yeah, and his IQ, it just keeps getting better and better and better and better, and he's always texting me at night, wanting to learn things. He'll, texting me videos, asking me questions, coming by the office asking me questions, and, those are dream players to coach.
Preston Turner.
Preston Turner is a Division II transfer from Truman State. He's from about an hour and a half away from here. Wow, is Preston turning into a player. He reminds me of a young man I had at Northwest Florida named Brennan Rigsby, who's playing a lot of minutes at Oregon right now. Both very similar, from small towns. Brendan had the same process basically as Preston. Both shooters, athletic. Preston's 6'6", and he's really athletic. He's gotten so much better defensively, and he's starting to understand angles, and that he is 6'6", that he is athletic, that he can gap guys, and he is quick off the floor. But the way he shoots the ball, when he gets down to them corners and he gets shot ready, it's shot ready, shot gone, and it's a bucket. And he really spaces the floor for us. But then he can shot fake and he can get to the rim, and he'll dunk it on your head too when he drives it to the rim. And he's finishing through contact. But the best thing that Preston does that most don't realize, he is an elite rebounder. He's averaging a rebound every 3 minutes he plays. And he's always going to the offensive glass, and he's a really good defensive rebounder. He just keeps getting better and better and better and better. And, he's better today than he was yesterday, and he's better this week than he was last week. And he's going to be better next week than he is this week. And he continues to learn from his mistakes, and he's super coachable. Super coachable. I challenge him daily, weekly, and sometimes he don't like it, but he understands that it's helping him. And who knows how good he's going to be by March, because he's just got so much God-given ability and such great hand-eye coordination, and he's got good length and good feet and just, I call it a radar. Guys that have a radar, when they shoot it, it looks like it's going in every time, and every time he shoots it, it looks like it's going in. And then you just put his rebounding on top of that. I'm really excited for his future, and just really proud of how hard he's worked, because the first 4, 5, 6 weeks, 7 weeks weren't easy for Preston. And now we're starting to see the young man that I always envisioned him to be, and now he's starting to do things I didn't really realize. I thought maybe by March he'd be doing them, and he's doing them now. So, like I said, who knows by March what he's going to be like.
Yeah, he's got a pretty shot on him. He's got a lot of range. He's on the corners a lot of the times, hitting them in. I think the thing that impressed me the most about him, or it just seemed like he had a lot of confidence with his shot. Yes. Like you said, when he shoots it, you just feel, as a spectator, you just feel like this is going in. And then you mentioned the ability to get up there and, drive and dunk. So I'm thinking he's a shooter kind of guy, right? He's staying out there. And then he dunked on somebody. One of the games I saw, I was like, where did that come from?
Yeah, he can cut off the ball. He's got a good shot fake. And then he's an elite free throw shooter. So if you foul him, he's an elite free throw shooter, and gets to the foul line and makes his free throws. So, yeah, he's been really fun to coach.
I bet. Marion Dickerson out of Cleveland. The website has him listed as a guard. Is that correct?
Yeah, he's a 6'7", tremendous athletic guard that can play. Another one that can play all over the court. Mio can do that. Turner can do that. What we call Mar. Mar is, like I tell Mar, when Mar's energy is right and he's focused and just full of energy, oh man, he is a fun player to coach, a fun player to watch, an elite player. You want to talk about athleticism and defense, and just he's a game-changing athlete, and he's got game-changing, like on a glass when he goes every time. He's getting 1 out of every 2 every time he goes. He blocks shots when he's guarding the basketball of just vertically contesting. Only the best in the world can do things like that. Like, that is an unbelievable skill. I haven't had many that I've coached that can do that. And he does it all the time. But sometimes, he's not locked in, and he goes for fakes, and he takes himself out of position, or his energy level isn't where, I've seen. I'm the type of coach, when you show me you can do something once, I expect you to do it all the time. And, he was here last year, and I got to give Jonah Burgess a lot of credit for getting him back. He was in the transfer portal and the JUCO transfer portal, and he was looking at some other schools, and I had recruited him to Northwest Florida when I was the coach there, but he ended up going somewhere else. Anyway, so we had a little bit of a rapport, and I got him. He shoots the ball. He's one of them guys that if you walk in that gym between 8:30 and 11 at night, he's in there on the gun shooting. He's shooting free throws. He's working on his game. Like, he loves the gym. And because he loves the gym, he's getting so much better. And he's a very smart young man. He's got a great feel for basketball and a great IQ for basketball. So, I mean, you're 3 for 3 right now.